What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Horseshoe. My name is Matt, and today we're going to be talking about who the Colts should take with the 21st pick of the NFL draft. I'm going to go through different scenarios as far as if somebody I want is taken, then this is who I want to replace the person I want. Before we get into it, I do want to say I did see Joey Hunt was picked up by the Colts. I think that's pretty awesome. And then Davenport was also officially signed as an Indianapolis Colt too, which is pretty cool. Glad to have those guys on board. It's going to be more for depth. But let's get into it real quick. So, 21st pick. Not the best and not the worst pick to have in the draft. I think something that is really neat about this draft is even if we were lower, I think we could fill the needs that we need in this draft because there are so many left tackles in this draft that we could see some defensive guys fall, or maybe some other guys we don't expect. So, this is a very good draft to be where we are right now. So, I do want to get into it. Let's start off with, I think, the obvious need that we need to fill. And at the 21st pick, the pick I would love more than anything to get is Sam Cosmi from Texas. This guy is a beast. I love this guy. I love how talented he is. He had an incredible pro day, which probably means he's not going to be available with the 21st pick. He had a 4.85 40-yard dash. That's pretty great. That's something I would love to have for a left tackle because when we have our running backs run, to have not only a guy like Sam Cosmi run with the running backs, but Quentin Nelson. Could you imagine? You're a cornerback and you're trying to get to Jonathan Taylor or Marlon Mack, which is not going to be easy anyway. And as you're going to them, you see a Sam Cosmi and a Quentin Nelson just running right to you. I mean, I wouldn't want to be that guy. I just wouldn't want to be that guy. So I think drafting a Sam Cosmi would be great. And look, we don't know what the Colts are going to do with, the remainder of the offseason. They might fill in that left tackle as far as starter goes. Because I know we got some guys already that could potentially be our left tackle, like Sam Tevi and whatnot. But I think those are for depth, and we need a starter. And I think a guy like Sam Cosmi could be the answer. Now, if the Colts go ahead and sign Eric Fisher, which is very possible, then I don't think the Colts need to use their 21st pick on Sam Cosmi. I would love to have Sam Cosmi. Maybe they do it anyway, but they don't necessarily need to because you could draft a guy in the second round like a Liam Eichenberg, or an Alex Leatherwood, and you could start Eric Fisher and have those guys sit behind Eric Fisher and kind of learn everything. And then when it's their time to step up, they're ready to go. Whether that's during the season, because you never know with injuries. Maybe that's at the start of the year because let's say Eric Fisher isn't going to be ready for week 1. Then they can at least come in and fill in that need for the moment. And then Eric Fisher can come in and then they can continue to learn behind him. So I think that could be something very useful. So if the Colts end up signing Eric Fisher, what would I do next? The next guy I would end up signing is an edge rusher. And the two guys I'm kind of looking at specifically, depending on if they fall, well, three guys, I should say, even though one of them is a defensive lineman, not specifically an edge rusher, but still, Gregory Rousseau from Miami. He is projected to fall. I can look it up because I thought he was a top 15 pick initially, but on this NFL draft, mock draft on CBS, Gregory Rousseau has actually fallen to 27 for them. So he's very much an option if this ends up being the way it goes to where, we're taking all these left tackles and offensive weapons early in the first round. So the defensive guys we thought that would go earlier start to fall. Gregory Rousseau could definitely be an option. I do like that as a potential guy. I don't love it necessarily. Granted, I don't love the edge rushers, but then again, we haven't really done a whole lot in the offseason for edge rush. So drafting might be the way to go, depending on what happens and up to the draft, whether we sign an Eric Fisher or somebody who's a legit, really good like tackle, which I honestly don't see unless it's Eric Fisher. So unless that ends up being the case, I don't think we're going edge. But if we do, Greg Russo is definitely a guy I think we need to keep an eye out for. Another guy who is actually projected to go ahead of him, I believe the same one I'm looking at right now. The CBS mock draft actually has him going 17 to the Raiders. Um, it is Jason Owe from Penn State. Really good edge rusher. I think he did run a 4.4, I believe, at his pro day. Um, but that's another guy I think we could look at. He didn't actually start playing football till his junior year of high school, which is pretty crazy. So I think with that being said, with the fact that he hasn't played a whole lot of football, you bring him in, and maybe this guy just becomes a stud, his rookie year. You never know. Because he hasn't played a lot. Usually a lot of these guys play in Pee Wee. This kid played during his junior year of high school for the first time. So he's a very good weapon I think we can have for defense. And I think it could be of use. And the other guy who I don't think is going to be available, but I'm kind of intrigued, is Kwity Paye from Michigan, defensive lineman. He could be a pretty good tool to have for defensive line. Um, so that's another guy to look at. So there's that. Now, if we go cornerback, rather than going with edge, because let's say there's no edge guys, Chris Ballard is really wanting. And let's say we sign Eric Fisher, and then we're just going to go get a left tackle in the second round. Some guys I think we need to look at as far as cornerbacks. Not sure if all these guys are going to be available. Heck, I don't think the guys I'm going to mention will be available. I think they're just that good. The first guy I want to bring up is Patrick Surtain from Alabama. The dude is a monster. I think if he falls, which I can't see, I think Dallas is definitely going to take a cornerback, and odds are it's going to be him. If he ends up being available, that's a guy I would definitely take a swing at. This guy could be a beast. I love this guy. I think he could be really, really good for us. So that's somebody to keep an eye out on if we're looking at different cornerbacks with our draft pick. Another guy I do want to bring up is J.C. Horn. J.C. Horn is from South Carolina, another really good corner that I think could be of use if we decide to go that way. And the reason why I'm listing cornerbacks as a potential is because, we could get younger in that position. The roads are only going to be closed for so long. So having a Xavier Rhodes on our team this year is going to be good, but how long are we going to have him? That's the question that I think we're all going to be wondering. He might be done after this year as a Colt because he's probably going to want that big money, as everybody wants, that signing these low contracts, kind of as like a, hey, owe me later, type of thing. So, maybe we go corner in that position. Those are two guys I definitely would go after. Greg Newsome is a guy that I'm curious about. Defensive guy from our defensive back from Northwestern. Kind of curious. Had a really good season. Somebody I think we need to keep an eye out on for sure as a potential. Yeah, let's go after him. And then the other guy, who could actually fall. Um, I am not sure how far he'll fall, but Caleb Farley, that could be a guy to look at as well. He is actually rated as the number one cornerback in the mock draft or in this whole draft class. So I do think maybe we take a shot on him. And like I said, we could sign Richard Sherman this season too. So these guys can learn under Richard Sherman, a Xavier Rhodes. And then when their time is ready, which would probably be the following season, we can have them go in. Not the biggest need. However, we might need to fill in those needs pretty soon. So might as well take advantage of it right now. The last guy I want to talk about, and I do not see this guy falling to us at all. But I saw some mock drafts saying, hey, he might fall a lot lower than what people are expecting. A guy that I think over Sam Cosmi, the edge rushers I listed, the corners I listed, The guy I think we would absolutely have to take over them if he's available at that 21st pick, and I'll list a couple others too that are in his position, is Devontae Smith. I've seen people say that Devontae Smith might actually fall towards the bottom half of the first round, like around that 18, 19, spot, maybe even in the 20s. So if he ends up falling, he is absolutely a guy I think we need to take care of. For one, you cannot have too many wide receivers. I think having him, especially for not this upcoming season, but the following season, would be very, very useful. Receivers not a big need, at least to me anyway. I think we're pretty set on our receivers. But if we get a Devontae Smith, Ty is not going to play forever. He's got a few years left at the most. So why not get the next T.Y. Hilton? And some people might say, what about Pittman? Okay, that's fair. But imagine having as Carson Wentz, T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman, Devontae Smith, um, Paris Campbell, if he can stay healthy, Zach Pascal. I mean, that would be great. That would be awesome for him. And that is definitely somebody who, if he falls, we need to look at as a potential receiver to take. A couple more if they fall, which, like I said, these are hypothetical. I don't see this happening, but if they do, some guys I definitely would take a swing at in this draft would be Jalen Waddle. Don't see it happening. He's not falling at all. He's probably going to be a top 10 pick. He was originally thought of to be Alabama's number one guy. Jamar Chase would be another guy, but he's not going to fall. Odds are one of those guys, one of the three guys, whether it's Devontae Smith, Jamar Chase, or Jalen Waddle, they're definitely going to be picked up in the top 10 because the Lions need a receiver. You know, I I don't think Miami needs a receiver. I think they're going to actually take the tight end from Florida, Kyle Pitts. I think he's going to go there. But if any of those guys fall, because like I said, I don't see it happening because, I mean, you got the Chargers who are going to be looking for their guy. I think the Cardinals might get a guy there. So, I don't see them falling, but if they do, one of those guys you absolutely have to take. Another guy I would definitely take a swing at is Christian Darrisaw if he's available. I think that's another one that we need to look at that could end up being a really good left tackle for us. So there we have it. Those are the guys I have on my list of who the Colts should draft at number 21. Let me know down below. Is there anybody else that you would take at pick number 21 that I didn't bring up? Let me know down below. Like I said, those are hypotheticals. A lot of those guys probably aren't even going to be available at 21, but I just wanted to throw everything out, including there's no way, like your Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, and Jamar Chase. And the only reason why I brought those guys up is because Devontae Smith was at one point in a mock draft as recent as like a couple days ago was projected to be like the 19th pick. So that's why I brought them up. And even if one of them are available, I don't think Chris Ballard would get them because I feel like he's fine at receiver. That's how he feels anyway. But still, wanted to bring those guys up. Let me know. Who do you want at 21? Do you want Sam Cosmi? Do you want a Darrisaw? Would you rather go edge and get a Russo or an Owe? Quiddy Pay if he falls. Let me know down below. Thank you all for watching. I've been Matt, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.